Since when you were a kid, we love action figures and toys. Because the imagination goes high when you play with toys. And today, the adult collector community is very big. And sometimes in this community, you can find awesome company with awesome projects. And one of them is my guest tonight. Because the guest of my show for the first time ever on my show is Aisley from Ramen Toy. So please welcome my guest and enjoy the show. And don't forget to like and subscribe and follow Ramen Toy on social media. So please welcome my guest. Welcome to the show, Ace.
Well, that was absolutely marvelous. What a nice piece, Mr. Allen. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And this is only for you because it's an improvisation. It's a song made for you right now in the moment. It's really fresh.
Very good, very good.
So, before to cover your project in the company in general, all start in the beginning this toy company, the Ramen Toy.
Yeah, can you repeat that? Didn't really hear you. Can you repeat that, sir? We got some issues with the audio.
Yeah, maybe because I tell you a little short story. In Italy, we have a Jurassic connection. So the connection is still slow and really bad also in the night. It's 3 a.m. now, but still bad also in this time. I repeat the question maybe.
Yeah, please.
I will start with this. Tell me something about Ramen Toy before to cover your project and everything. How start Ramen Toy? What is the goal in the beginning? Something about your story.
Well, I have been with toys ever since I was a boy, obviously. And, fast forward it a little bit, not too long-winded. I was in the eBay area, like selling toys. And then I moved to Hong Kong to be working for a, e-commerce company that was selling toys. And then that slowly moved into making of toys and collectibles. And in 2014, I came out on my own after spending like 10 years in Hong Kong. And I started Caliber Toys, in which I licensed my first project with the Age of Extinction from Transformers. I did some coin banks, some figure carabiners. And then from then on, I've just been doing stuff for Universal Studios Singapore. And then, but in the back of my mind, I was like, I'm not really doing toys per se. I'm just doing collectibles, statues, coin banks. It's not action figure. So come, 2020, I finally, during the pandemic, which gave us time to sit down and think about things, I was telling my guys, my partners in Singapore, hey, if we don't do this now, when is the time, right? So we put our thoughts together, make a commitment, and we started Ramen Toy. And in 2021, we released our very first project, which is the 80s Commanders. And that is basically a homage to the Canon Centurions, as we all know. And we were basically without any hope. We're not sure how this would take us. I will not be with you here today speaking about this had things gone another way, right? We could just be an obscurity in the entire community. But apparently, we had some luck and people liked what we're doing. That allowed us the platform to move on to the next and the next. And, my idea is always to have Ramen Toy be the third party entity that would fill the gaps and provide our vision of what we feel the characters and heroes of our nostalgic past would actually look like in my particular vision. And I'm sure many of you guys share my vision. That's why you love what we're doing, right? So apparently I'm not alone in terms of what I see they should be. And then many of us actually share this same vision, and that's why we are, achieving the link with the community. They like what we're doing. So yeah, long story short, Ramen Toy is all about making the action figures, well, making action figures of what we loved back in the 80s. And that includes so many genres that we are slowly trying to fill in on those gaps. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, I discovered your company because what you did with the project with the Silverhawks. No, it
Yeah.
was amazing. Their figures. I mean, tell me something about it. How comes out this project? Because their figures are amazing. Both Moonstar and Quicksilver. Tell me something up because the people love so much this project, and I think they also give you to you a strong base of fan also about your ramen toy since that, because I think this project, these two figures open your company in a large way, I think. Speaking of popularity, also to is a big deal, that one. Tell me something.
Yeah. So again, like I mentioned just a while ago, we are, well, we set up on this journey basically trying to do, third party. That means we don't actually approach licenses for the official license. There's a reason for that, which I can dwell on a separate topic, or even on this show, right? So we wanted to do all these third party because we wanted to stylize the characters. They will not look like what you see in the cartoon. They are not part exact verbatim of the style guide. So this is one aspect that we always felt, and of course, from my experience, licensing would be a difficult hurdle to overcome, because
Yeah.
most of the time when you license something, the licensor would want you to follow the style guide. You have to actually make something that looks like what you're licensing. Of course, there's some exceptions, but of course that those exceptions are probably, in my opinion, granted to companies that have a bigger standing in the community. Right, the bigger you are, the more power you have in the say. But if you are small and you are starting out, then you don't really have that much power to direct things, right? So probably in our case, we'll be asked to follow the style guide, which is not what we wanted to do. We want to create something of our own. So similarly, once we did the 80s commanders, the next thing that was actually on our radar or in the plans was Silverhawks. But of course, we weren't prepared to call them Silverhawks. As you can see, we have drastically revised the designs of Monstar and Quicksilver, and they were supposed to be, another third-party branding. However, when we, did this project and revealed it on our Facebook, Brian Flynn from Super 7 private message us and say, hey, if you guys want to do this, why don't you do it with a license? And that's how it started. Yeah.
Awesome. Also, and Brian is a friend of mine. Is awesome as well. Also, because this show actually start. This is the episode today, number 79. But the
Mm.
first episode started with Brian Flynn. So Brian
Wow,
was the first to trust in my show. So
that's
I big
great.
gratitude to him. I saw in your in on the your page, your website, Ramen Toy. There is awesome project. Actually, you feel these vibes about 80s, these nostalgia vibes. One of the things that got my attention immediately was the item called Master of the Verse. No, tell me something about it.
Yeah. So, Master of the Verse is basically our hits. Okay. Um, Obviously, Mattel has Masterverse, and I just quickly thought up of Master of the Verse, and then verse 1, verse 2, verse 3 would be the three different hits that we want to actually make for defense. So the moment, I mean, I'm a fan myself, obviously, right? So as you can see from the background, lots of Masters of the Universe stuff that I have there. And when Super 7 did the Rebel Leader He-Man, right? That was basically the movie version, Dolph Lundgren He-Man. I wasn't able to actually get that figure when it was released back in the day, because honestly, during the time when you guys all collecting figures, I was actually doing something else. Yeah, my whole history with toys is a bit of up and down, up and down. There was highs, there's lows, highs and lows. So when I was in the low, that means I wasn't really, in the know on the toy scene. I wasn't really keeping track on what's going on. I didn't know what figures were released. I didn't even know that Matty Collector existed until much later. But that's me, because I was dealing with other things like my aircraft projects, right? So I also do die-cast skill
Wow,
fighter jets, right?
awesome.
So that is just my story. I'm a skill modeler and an action figure lover. So between those two, I got to find the balance. So most of the time in the community, if you are collecting action figures, you won't touch skill models. If you are touching skill models and you're doing modeling and painting, you won't touch action figures. So I'm a bit of a hybrid myself. So I think that's the thing. So yeah, so Master of the Verse, basically, when I didn't get the Dolph Lundgren from Super 7, and then suddenly last year Mattel revealed their version of that figure, I was ecstatic, because now I got a chance to buy it at retail price versus the secondary market. But one thing stood out to me, right? The face just didn't look right.
Yeah,
And again, there's many reviews and people conclude that it's not exactly a bad sculpt. Of course, I don't think that it is a bad sculpt. It's just not the the hit that we want, right, for this
yeah.
particular figure. So I got to work immediately. Got my sculptor to say, hey, let's do something that looks better. And we went to work very fast, and we came up with the verse 1 hit. And then when we did that, there were comments from collectors that, hey, uh, it's okay, but it's not exactly that. So that got me back to, okay, let's get back into the drawing board. Let's do a verse 2. And then the verse 2 was, having a more, slim into the cheeks, and then the eyes looking up, sort of a stance. And then we did that. But then again, some people like the first version. They say, oh, let's just do both, right? Let's just do both. And then people asking, how about for Origins? This is for Master Verse. So how about for Origins? I was like, okay, let's do for all three. That's why you're the verse 1, 2, and 3. That's what it is.
Awesome. It's an awesome idea. And by the way, I am a big fan of the movie 1987 Master of the Universe movie. And on this channel also, as well, I did 2 interviews with William Stout, that is the artist behind the movie. Awesome artist, awesome man. We did both time interview with over 2 hours of interview, because he have a lot of story also about the movie. He meet David Lynch, for example. No, he has a lot of awesome story about movie, artistic stuff. But he told me also, for example, that at the time Mattel tried to have his characters for a line, but he refused that at the time. No? So also the reason why also, if I believe that today also in the Masterverse we haven't the perfect likeness is, I think, also maybe because also of that. Because with Super 7, they call it William Stout collection at the time. I have those figures, by the way. They are super cool, and they were approved also by William Stout. This version of Masterverse, I don't think. So I think you got an awesome idea to do something in the origin scale with a better likeness. I think it's awesome, this idea. And also, I think it's awesome find a way to give something to the fan that maybe the major company they didn't, no? Because if you take a look at the master, for example, to me, as a collector, I was a collector of the Club Grey School line, no, with Super 7, cartoon accurate figure, no. I was a collector of the William Stowe collection, no, based on the movie. But I do the news for everything on this channel as a toy news. But speaking of as a collector, I don't collect Masterverse, honestly, because in my opinion, the double joints in this type of figures broke a little bit the shape of the figures, no? And also they stopped the carb break, so there was something that was really, I want really bad that one because it was to me. And also, for example, also this repackage of the movie figure has this lack about likeness. So I think the collector like me needs people like you that may do something that we haven't now, no? That maybe the big company don't care because they try to reboot everything to have a new target and also for marketing, no? But maybe forgot the adult collector. So I think Ramen Toy is awesome because touch something that we miss, no?
Yeah, I hope so.
So I have a question. Maybe it's just a speculation. Maybe it's just a dream, no? As you can see in my background, there is some character 80 vibes, Brave Star vibes,
Hmm.
no? And there is also people in the chat now, but they follow this channel, they love Brave Star in general. There is something inspired Brave Star in the future for Ramen Toy.
Oh yeah, we are already working on the Marshall, right?
Awesome. Yeah.
Have you seen our images of the Marshall? We got some connection issues again.
Yeah, no, don't know if you can see me because I see my friends. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry, because I have you can see me now.
Yeah, I can see you. I can hear
Because
you.
I have another device when I watch the everything works, no? So I
Okay.
saw the I you was on, but I was frozen because
Yes, no
once
worries.
again sometimes this Jurassic Italian
Yeah. So yeah, we did the Marshall, right? We just recently announced the Marshall, and that was actually the best performing video on our YouTube channel, surprisingly.
awesome.
So yeah, we're gonna we had the pleasure of working with Mr. Luke Wakeford on the Marshall, and yeah, he's a talented sculptor, hails from Canada, and we have showed the initial designs last year, and those designs had to be tweaked a little bit, and it went into prototyping stage because of the amount of projects that we had lined up. The prototyping came out a little bit later than we wanted, but nonetheless, it's already done. And the next step that we're doing after the initial prototype that I shared just, I would say, was it earlier last week? I forgot. Yeah, time just flies so fast. So it was either yeah, it was last week. Yeah, last week I did the video, a short video when I took pictures of the Marshall's prototype, and from then I was able to assess what areas that were good, what areas that I need to change, and change with it. So the final piece that will come out with colors would be a revised version from what you guys saw in the video. So again, we do a lot of tweaking, right? We don't just do something and then that's good to go. We see the prototype, we look at it, and only with it in hand are you able to see what's wrong with it. It's hard to see everything on the 3D model on the screen. It's always good to see it, in hand. And yeah, that's how we do it. And I'm actually very looking forward because I've already selected all the colors. All right, I've selected all the colors for the Marshall. Fans are asking for cartoon accurate colors instead of what we envisioned, because what we put out in terms of that particular sculpt, we had give it a more muted colors because it's supposed to be more like real world. And again, like I said, it's all with my whole skill modeling background and my love for skill and realism, we always like to do weathering on our models. It has to look real, not fake. So that is a fine balance between now us delivering these figures with a sense of realism versus like totally tune accurate. Because if it's totally tune accurate, then the amount of detail that is on our figures sort of detracts from that tune colors, because those tune colors are meant to, bring vibrancy to the cartoons, right? You're supposed to show kids something that's bright and vibrant. But once you make it into a collectible for 40, 50-year-old people, you got to make some adjustments, because yes, some people would love them as they are, exactly in the cartoon, but that would mean that our designs, you know, are not meant for that. If you know what I'm saying, we're not actually trying to do a one-for-one replica of the cartoon. We're trying to put our own spin, our own vision on how this should actually look in a more realistic state. So having gone the whole round, what I'm just trying to say is that for the colors, we had initially wanted to do something more muted, but again, I'm trying to listen to the fans who said that they want more cartoon accurate colors. So we are gonna implement more cartoon accurate colors, but again, with just a little bit of adjustment. It won't be like totally bright yellow in your face. There's a little bit adjustments, but it won't be as muted as our initial renders. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. It's awesome project. So, will be also other character along with the Marshall in the future, maybe inspired from the same
So
show.
this is something that we have to really find a balance, because as we all know, with everything, there are going to be major characters and minor characters. Just like in any movie, you have your lead actor and your supporting actor, and then you have the rest of the cast.
Yeah,
And with that in mind, that also means we have the problem of scalability. When we make a figure, the amount of work, the amount of finance, the amount of time that goes in is not going to be different, right? It doesn't mean that the guy is a minor character. We spend less time on it. We spend less money on it. No, it's the same time, the same amount of money, the same amount of effort, but it does not equate to the same amount of sales. So that is always one thing for an indie company like us to manage. When we try to do something more obscure, having to want to commit to the same level of what I just mentioned about time, money, and all these things, effort, then the end result might not help us, because the whole idea of an indie company is that we have to make money to make more products, right? It it,
yeah,
it all starts from a little pot. It all starts from a dream that we have, a set of savings. We don't have investors, all right? We don't have people pumping in money. It's just few guys that put their resources together and started a first project that reaped some returns, that is put back into the whole brand for the next project. And that's how we're running the business. Actually, everything that comes from the proceeds goes right back into investing into the next one. We only showed 80s Commanders and Silverhawks. In year two, we are showing things like the Maverick, the Marshall, the most powerful stand in the universe, another set of stands, developing more 80s Commanders characters, which obviously was a good lesson that failed. And that actually brings about my point. We also did, the Antagonist Cyborg, the Land Drone. So you can see there's more. Suddenly, there's more things, because why? We achieved some success, and then those finances, those proceeds went right back into developing, for the next project. Versus, I mean, lack of a better term, or trying to say something, is that I don't use that proceed and then I'm getting myself a nice new car, or getting myself it's not like that. I'm still staying in the same place. I'm still, everything's the same. Nothing has changed. I'm still drinking the same kind of coffee. Nothing has changed. But what has changed is that we are now developing. We have not the resources now to develop more things, right? I mean, the speed that we came up to churn up with the hits, and all these again, it takes time, effort, money, right? It takes all these things, and then if we don't have the support, if we don't have those resources, then we could well have run this brand at a much slower pace. So yeah, I mean, coming back to your question, after going that big round again, I'm so sorry. We would love to have more characters for the Marshall, but it all depends on the support at the end of the day from the fans, right? We'll always, with one successful Marshall, we will develop his horse, and then with the horse, we will develop another one, and then we'll put it all up for pre-orders, right? If it shows that there's enough pre-orders that makes the project a success, we'll go right ahead. If the pre-order shows that the project is not going to succeed to the minimum requirement, then we have to abandon that project. Unfortunately, we can't go into tooling, because the moment we go into tooling is a big chunk of investment that could otherwise be used to develop even more cool stuff that people want. If I'm making sense.
Yeah, I know that also the tooling is one of the things that the bigger cost in the production also to build everything, no? I think
Yeah.
that, but I think there will be a good support for that. As a YouTuber, I won't support this project because I'm a Marshall Bracer fan. So I like also that this choice to use the color more close to the show. So I think, in my opinion, will do really well. I'm positive about the result. There will be a good results because the people like it. And you touch something that nobody touch, and the people of they love these cartoons of the 80s, love a lot of Marshall Bracer. So it's something is another good idea. I think it will work. So finger crossed, but I'm positive about this project. So I want to talk about also your stands because I saw on the website also the Masters, the most powerful stand in the universe. So tell me something about this project, and also about in the same time also the TNT stands also.
All right. So the stands came about as an idea for a project that is less intensive, right? All our projects so far are all sculpts of figures. It's very intense. Intense means that we have to get a lot of time and investment into it. Uh, it has to look right. So there's a lot of effort that goes into a figure. A stand, however, you have less effort. All right. So we're trying to look for projects that would be short term gaps to the long duration of making a figure. In the meantime, we can fill those gaps with products like these heads, these stands. So I thought about the stand for the Masters of the Universe figures, and the inspiration. I got to admit, I mean, we've gotten many, we got a few, right? A few comments about how we copied other people's ideas. And I will be honest with you, right? I got the inspiration from the stand when I saw the I forgot the actual maker, so I apologize. But I think it could be some diorama, a guy that makes dioramas, right? So it makes all these 3D dioramas, um, and I got the inspiration, right? And what I wanted to do next was, we have carded figures, the figures on the card, and then we would keep our figures, our Motu figures on the card because some collectors collect mint on card.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking, can I preserve the card for you, but now you can actually touch the figure? So that's why I came up with this idea of bringing that packaging, through that, they call it the fourth wall, maybe, right? Where the figure is now, really three-dimensionally in your possession in what looks like a packaging, but it's actually a stand. So that was the whole concept between of making this after getting the inspiration when I saw and I chanced by, the creator that did this rock, very, it's kind of big, it's more wide than it is tall, right? And there's a front with rocks as well. So I'm not really into that. I just wanted that card back that was popping out in your face. So that was the whole idea of it. And then of course there was another uh, creator, another artist that actually did another kind of stand that looks like our stand, or our stand looks like their stand, but I have no idea of that particular artist until it was brought to my attention. Because the moment we listed the product on our Facebook, then we have the people posting the pictures of this product and say, hey, mine looks better, this is my idea, right? Which, I mean, I have not copied anybody's idea, but of course if people want to think that way, then I've no what's the word I'm looking for, I can't really change their minds. If they think it's a certain way, then so be it. But I'm giving you my take on how this whole thing came about, and it's obviously up to you to decide if you think you believe me or not. So yeah, so the idea of this stand is to have it in packaging, but the packaging now pops up into you, and you can actually display the figure up front, and then you can actually put the card of the figure behind the stand. And Pixel then actually had even added to the idea, whereby he flipped the card, and actually the card on the back has a bit of an artwork, and you can actually see the artwork with your figure in front. So that was something that I didn't thought of, you see. So I'm always giving credit where due. So hopefully by that, people can maybe see for themselves who is giving more of an accurate description.
Oh, I think it's a cool idea also because, for example, when I saw that, so it's perfect because I like the idea to see likes to have the same vibes of the box, the typical box, the traditional box of the mochi with these red rocks, but having a stand forms like a little diorama to display the figure is an awesome idea. I didn't know about these artists that do something similar. I didn't know that. I know only your stands because I saw
Okay.
this channel is a channel also that cover toy news for everything. No, so every day I like a CNN of the toys. No? So every day
Okay.
I upload many video news. So I remember the stands, and I remember also the stands for the TNT as well. And by the
Right.
way,
So the
Pixel Dan
TNT
is an
stand
awesome
is,
dude also. Pixel Dan was 2 times in my show also to talk about this book. So it's interesting that we knows the same guys that was also in my show. But tell me something about also the project, the TNT stand.
yeah. So when we did the most powerful stand in the universe, again, the whole name is from the essence of Masters of the Universe, right? The most powerful man, the most powerful this and that. So now we have the most powerful stand. But after having gone into that, then I thought, can I make other stands for other things? Because this is one of the things that I wanted to do back as back in 2020, when I was conceiving the idea of Cine Cats. So Cine Cats is another idea of mine that is not yet come to fruition because I have so many things to do. But the whole idea of I even got the logo set up for Cine Cats. So Cine Cat is basically uh, dioramas of statues, right? You have maquettes as statues. So I name it scene cats, right? So you have a diorama statue thing. So I thought about that and I was thinking, okay, now that was an idea for making real dioramas. But how about instead of dioramas, how about making something that complements what collectors are collecting for their figures? So most powerful stand was for He-Man. How about something else for some other genres? So that's why I came up with the idea of making the TMT compatible stands, because I'm also a fan of the Ninja Turtles, and the whole line that we set up now is called Stand Easy, right, is Stan, STANEZ. So Stan Easy is the line, the brand of this particular line of things that would include even more projects in the future. So I had idea to make something next for Ninja Turtle fans, and that was when I came up with the TMT stands. But of course, that involves more. You don't really have a card to stick behind. Obviously, you have cards for Ninja Turtles back in the day, Playmates, but it's not exactly the same, if you know what I mean, right? Mattel
Yeah.
He-Man is a very distinct, real estate area at the top for the branding. But Playmates, they have more like a wider packaging for the figures. So that itself would mean it's not right already. You can't really. I mean, you're getting more width and more volume. So I don't want that. I want something that is more compact in terms of the width. And but then again, you need to have the essence of TNMT, and the essence involves more three-dimensional things than just the Motu stands, because the Motu stands is a simple stand, nothing to it. But TMNT, if you did that, then there's no meaning. So you got to have a sewer environment. You got to have things that pop out like pipings, a little red, some mutagen ooze. You got to have an alley with a manhole, signature stuff. So that was how it came about. And then from then on, would I then develop more ideas such that, okay, now people are saying, why don't we do more? So could we actually connect the alley to another alley, round a corner, have a lamppost, something else? So those are things in my consideration to develop it further. And then, the sewer, could I connect another part of the sewer, and then it could be a more longitudinal environment that you can actually display on against your wall. So these are all things in place, but all depends on how the initial wave performs, right? If people are okay with the price, with the make, then we can see from there if we want to actually proceed on to develop this, or move on to the next stand for the next pop culture genre. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that also this one, because I saw some pictures also in your website, is cool, because the idea that you can put together this dance, have a little scene, is awesome. Also, this idea, because can be also a diorama also for shooting photos, no, for the people that want shooting photos with AT&T figures. It is also something that no one do. So is a once again you find a spot that nobody touch. No, it's a good idea, that one. So I think it will work really well, because there is a lot of photographer, but also for to do a review. This background is really cool in my opinion. No, so I think it can work also to display the figure, but also to shooting photo, to do some videos. Is a nice is a cool idea for that. I
Thank
see
you.
some question for you in the chat from some of the fan. Maybe if you want answer one of them.
Sure. Sure.
So this one is Rod Pick John is a solid fan of the channel. It says question for Ace from Ramen Toy. Visionaries Night of the Magical Lies. When we are going to see the first figures for this line?
If I gotta be honest with you, maybe in 2025. Yeah.
You got your answer,
Yeah.
Rod Pick John.
Yeah.
But I want to take a look at also other things that I saw on your website. Because tell me something, for example, about the Machina Laboratories project.
Right. So Makina almost didn't make it because, I mean, I love Mask as a kid. Mask is almost the second of my most beloved toy after He-Man. Um, in fact, more so than Transformers. Uh, as a kid, I never really had the luxury of having Transformers, so it's more like a He-Man, and then next thing was Mask. And yeah, I just love Mask, and I didn't have a chance to actually own many of those vehicles. I only had Condor, Thunderhawk, Piranha, Switchblade, and Firefly. That's it. All right. I never had the Boulder Hill. I never had the Rhino. I never had the Raven. The cool stuff. So yeah. So mass for me is really very, inside me. Really really love it. And ramen toy making 80s nostalgia. I mean, how can you miss mass, right? How can you leave it out? But it was always about the whole, can we actually sell this? Can we uh I mean, with the 80s commanders, like I mentioned in other podcasts and streams, we were able to amortize one body and make three characters. And that is the whole essence of making production. You want to make something that you can, you know, it's like a golden goose. You need the golden goose, right? But with Makina, how many times can you recolor one of the vehicles? They only appear one color and that's it. So that for me was the stopping block. That actually said, I told my guys, we can't do this, because even though we want to do it, we won't make it back. It's so difficult. And again, we don't have the distribution that many other people or other companies have, because they are legit uh, manufacturers with legit licenses, and that gets you into legit retail channels. Because, for example, Big Bad Toy Store wouldn't take our 80s Commanders. They did not take our Makina. So we had only ourselves to sell to the community, right? They took the Silverhawks because it was licensed, right? Obviously. So that was the thing, right? We have to know where we stand, and do the things that we think we can actually. Hold on. There's a call coming in. I got to
No
put
problem.
that. Yeah. So yeah. Um, so Makina, uh, you know, didn't really take off, but I sort of convinced myself, hey, okay, so the whole mass line was missing one vehicle, Gloria Baker's Shark. So I said, hey, okay, let's just do that first. All right, let's just do that. Maybe there's a chance of doing it because nobody has it. So maybe there's a chance that we could get a more wider audience to support the project and make it sell, right? So the whole idea was because it wasn't done, that we think that if we do it, even though we don't replicate in many colors, we should get enough orders that will satisfy the project. So that's why Great White was announced first. But at the end of the day, Great White now is leapfrogged by Red Gullwing, and Red Gullwing is coming out first, because the plan was to do Great White and then the Red Gullwing. But we had challenges with the Great White's transformation, and that actually brought us to like a MK4, right? MK1 was like that, no good. MK2, all the ideas, still not good enough. MK3, and so on and so forth. So that was the whole idea of Makina. Now, why Red Gullwing? Obviously, Thunderhawk, I surmise, is the most popular of all the mass offerings. And as an owner of the Thunderhawk myself, I saw how it was, and I saw how dissatisfied I am with it as the years go by. Of course, as a child, the moment I opened the box, it was pure heaven, right? The whole car with the whole wings, that whole figure with the mask that goes on, the whole feeling, that back in the day feeling, is something that you can never get back again. So now, if I were to do something that sort of improves what I didn't like about the original, I have to give the community the same feeling that when they get the Red Gullwing, it has to give them the feeling that, oh, this is wow and that is wow, versus okay, so they did another replica, right? No, it's not like that. So we invested, we want to make what was not there in the Thunderhawk from the original canon. What can we improve? So that is what we incorporated into the Red Gullwing. It's currently in its final test shot phase, and I'm very hopeful to show the final test shot in a live stream with you guys, hopefully by next week or the week after, and then we can start going to colored pre-production samples to show you exactly what you're going to get, and then we roll into production hopefully in around April and then deliver it in May. So yeah, this is the Machina Industries, and of course we got on board talented artists like Brian Gee, who helped us to develop the comic that will now be included with the Red
Yeah.
Gullwing. And it's a bit of an homage as well, right? We have He-Man and that comes with a comic. Now, how about giving the Red Gullwing with a comic that is similar to He-Man as well? And then we got the talented designers like Gary G that helped us with the packaging and all these things. So it's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, I love the idea of the comics. And tell me something also about the statue. I saw on the Ramen Toy website also the statue, Metal Man statue, Arman statue, Crash Man statue. Tell me something about them.
Give me just 1 second while I answer this message. Okay, so those statues are basically a project that one of my partners has done back in pre-pandemic. So he got into licensing with Capcom, and for him, the Mega Man was his personal favorite, right? So I'm not too much of a Mega Man man myself, but I can appreciate the Rockman thing. So he was developing all these through his passion, and I helped to manage that project by working with the factories, working on the prototypes, working on the samples, and then we got our artists involved with the third statue, and then the Airman, the Metal Man, the I forgot the last name. Sorry. So those statues are part of a project that was pre-Ramen, and we're now using our platform to solicit the sales to people who who loves Mega Man but didn't know about this brand prior, right? So yeah, we're just trying to get more reach to Mega Man fans on these statues.
For a minute, so I will go back also about the Master of the Verse. Now we got a good option to have now a better likeness face for Iman. But if this one will be, I think it will do really well, no, in the pre-order. And do you think it's possible there is a spot also for his nemesis?
Well, the Skeletor is done very well by Masterverse, right? Unless
Yeah,
you're
I
talking
don't know.
about.
I don't know. I think that the Super 7 one was better than
Okay, there you go. So the whole idea of Ramen as well is that we don't try to do anything that has already been done better, right? If we can't do it better, we won't touch it. It's as simple as that. That's why I'm not challenging Hot Toys. I'm not challenging. Those guys are the pinnacle, right? When you can't do something better, in my world, I don't do it. Yeah.
yeah. Because there is other, but I think that also today to get the Super 7 one, you can do also deal with aftermarket because it's not available now. Also because Super 7 lost the license for that. So maybe let's see. But also, for example, to me as a collector, there's another things that no one do. I don't know if there is a good marketing for this one, for example. But I'm a big fan, speaking of Filmation, of the Filmation Ghostbusters. No, I had the action figures of the 80s, really old figures made by, I believe, by a company called Shaper, I believe. But no one touched the Filmation Ghostbusters. Maybe because it was also not a super lucky series, because in the same year, in the same weeks, there was aired before the filmation Ghostbusters, but 2 weeks later, the real Ghostbusters, inspired by the movie, start to be released on TV. No, so because of that, in Italy it's popular, but I recognize that the US filmation Ghostbusters is not the big top, one of the top five show ever. No, so to me, it's still a dream, but I don't know if you are interested about it.
Well, I grew up with Kenner Ghostbuster action figures, and I think uh, after post He-Man, that means after I was done buying He-Man and all these things, I think Ghostbusters was the one that I actually bought the most figures of. I got the zapper thing, right? The one that
Yeah, the
projects.
proton pack. Yeah.
There was another one that projects the image of the ghost on the wall, right?
Ah, okay.
The projector thing, and I got almost all the figures. I got all the Tombstone Tackle and Granny Grows and all these things. So yeah, I was definitely into that particular stage of the Ghostbusters. But again, the Ghostbusters is not in my memory as etched as He-Man and Mask and all these things. So
Also
yeah, I mean,
because you talk
so
about
yeah,
you talk about the Kenner figures, but the Kenner figures actually are based on the real Ghostbusters cartoon,
yes,
because the Ghostbuster that I mean is another type. Maybe I try to share
correct. Hence,
just
that's why I say I'm not aware of that particular Ghostbusters. So
yeah.
if if it's something that I'm not aware, then I doubt I can actually do anything good about it. So
Yeah,
that's
just to
the kicker.
show this, for example, when I was a kid, my favorite character. So I'm a Motu fan, I'm a Brave Star fan, I'm a Transformers fan, I'm a G.I. Joe fan. My first ever character was this. I will share with you just for fun.
Sure.
Was this? Let's see where it is. Was this cartoon character? Yeah, what is? It's a technical issue maybe right now. I don't know where it is. Yes, it's right here. Maybe because open like that. Let's see. Because it's okay. It's a little bit it's difficult to share, but was the bad guy of this show. It was
Okay.
actually it was the voice of this character in the show was made by Alan Opner. There was the same guy that did the Skeletor voice for the filmation.
Mm,
No?
okay.
So it was the same. I try to find the pictures that I can share with you, but everything is like maybe if I open like that. Let's see. We go off topic just a little bit, but just
Oh, no
to
worries.
to share passion, because every time that I yeah, I got it. No, I don't know if you remember this one because uh, yes, this one
Mm,
was my favorite cartoon character when
okay.
I was a kid. No,
Wow.
it
From
is the
Ghostbusters?
main. Yes, the filmation Ghostbusters. So
Okay,
the
okay.
Ghostbusters by the same company that did the Man and Brave Star. No, so
Interesting. Okay.
they are inspired for an old series, old TV series. There was a gorilla, and I'm not surprised that you don't know this line
Yeah,
because
I
I
actually don't
discovered
know
that many
this.
people, many guests of my show, every time I try to talk about this, only the guy that work with filmation know this really well because they work on this stuff. Because I had in my show Tom Cook was a guy animator for stop motion for filmation. I had also Rob Lamb, Robbie Goran. They work on Master of the Universe filmation
Mm,
cartoon, Brave Star. And for example, he told me that the character of Tex-Ex, that is the evil guy of Brave Star, was a part of the show with this guy.
mm,
Was scheduled as a ghost under this guy that is called Primeval. But
okay.
because when the show was ended, Lou Scheimer was fascinated by the Tex-Ex karate. Say we need to do something about it, and
Mm.
they did Bracelet series because of that. So it's also related with Bracelet a little bit.
Interesting.
But now let's move for some question about the fan
Sure.
from you. Uh, yes, this one. Which character are in line for the Titanium Titans line? The brothers Still Will and Still Hurt.
Steel Heart definitely. Not sure about Steel Will. He is in the gym, so yeah.
So let's see, guys.
Yeah, so
And
basically,
speak,
the Titanium Titans, we are, again, bear with us while we hash out the comics, right? We're going to do some comics on that. It's going to be an original IP that we're going to be creating with Riot Press, Mr. Patrick Parnell. He's a great comic book artist. So, he's also vested into the Silverhawks. He loved that. He does his own comic books. And then we thought that, we could actually work together, form this Titanium Titans as a new IP, something that we can call our own. And then the Titans are basically like the Avengers, whereas the Silverhawks in that same universe are like the X-Men, right? If I got that right. So the whole idea is that we're going to have a storyline that would introduce the Titanium Titans that were maybe initially not as good guys as we would know, that maybe they are sort of like in Marvel Civil War, right? You have two factions, even though they are the Avengers, right? So they have the Captain side and Iron Man side. So maybe the idea is that the Titanium Titans are not exactly like all good. They are a little bit anti-hero, and then they would clash with the Silverhawks, and then that would be part of the introduction, and then we'll move on to the Titanium Titans by themselves, and then along the way we can introduce the Steel Heart and the Copper Kid as the characters in the comic, and then obviously we'll have the Titanium Titans counterpart of those characters, so that we can amortize the tooling and make those characters available in that sense. Yeah, that's the whole premise of our idea. So we need some time. Hopefully by the end of this year we can actually have something to show, and just stay tuned, guys. Be patient, and then, like I said, many of you love our take on Quicksilver, and you want to have the whole team out. So the only way for us to do it is via the Titanium Titans. Yeah, so be patient. That's all I can ask.
awesome, awesome. So stay tuned, guys. Also, because when something new will comes out, if you won't come back to everything, you're welcome. Because I love to support you. But
Thank you. Yeah.
maybe it's time for the last question. I try
Okay.
to put a more philosophic, universal question, because obviously you work with something that is art, not because build a toy, create a toy, ideas, creativity. This is art. As an artist, I love this world of the toy business, this toy world. I like the collector, but I like also the people that make toys, because you understand the creativity. There is so as you mentioned before, I think that there is also behind a project like a ramen toy, there are the dreams before the project, no? And then when the dreams try to comes to reality, try to figure out how to do the best way to follow your dream, but to translate the dream, transform the dream also in a job, in a business. So today, if you can describe your life as a creator of toy, as a dreamer that create project, which word do you pick to describe yourself right now?
Words?
Word, a word, just a word.
Just a word?
Yeah,
Maverick.
awesome. So now I go to the piano, to the outro of the show. We know that there is something really cool about toys, and it's ramen toy. and his awesome project. You know that you love the Marshall, and you can get it coming soon. If you support the line, more is coming. Because I think that a guy like Ace is a dreamer also a creator of toys. And in this project, he realized also our dreams. So please support Ramen Toy. Go to his website and his Facebook page to follow each steps of new project and current project. Because remember, nothing is better like the toys of the 80s. And with Ramen Toy, we got the opportunity to have something related with something really cool. So thank you, Ace, to be my show. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you guys. Stay tuned for more episode. More is coming on the channel, but also more is coming for Ramen Toy. So don't miss that. Don't sleep. Stay tuned for the pre-order. Go to the website, because if you're a collector, if you love these awesome projects, you need to support, because only to support Ramen Toy, you can have more of something that you like. So thank you to all of you guys. Good night to everybody. Bye-bye.